Hello everyone, welcome to Writing Quest. My name is Brennan Pugh. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build incredible characters using Storybook Master Novelist for Notion. Here we go. Okay, so this is my demo version of Storybook Master Novelist. This is my Notion template that I built for writers. I have multiple. Some are free. This is a paid one, but this is definitely my best one. I think it's a really great tool for writers to use, and so definitely check it out. Today, we're going to spend most of our time in the world building section, and I'm going to show you how we can work on building characters specifically. So a little bit about the template. You have dashboard, brainstorm, outline, world building, and writing. And this whole template is designed to be a place where you can it's like a workflow that you start at the beginning, very small, and you build it as you go. So as you go through the brainstorm and outline sections, you have this little status board here. As these projects move through those areas, you start building up your world building stuff in there. So let me show you what I mean. So if I'm in the brainstorm section and I have this project right here, we're going to actually move this from synopsis. We're going to go back to brainstorm. So we'll put it up here. If I'm in this area and I'm going through the stuff, see how I have these world, main character, main antagonist, and ideas. So if I click here and add characters, creates them in the database for world building. So if I create another character 5, it would say create new character 5 in characters. Okay. So as you walk through the template, you collect all these world building elements. So you have other supporting characters, culture, races, groups, all those kinds of things. The idea being that you are free to create and do what you want and capture all those ideas for later when you're ready to do what we're going to do now, which is go into our character world building stuff and work on our characters. So if we go back over to the world building section, we have a lot of things. So we have worlds, regions, cities. We have this kind of geography history section. We have the society culture section and then items. So I'm going to close all that down. The world building gallery down here shows you kind of everything that is done, quote unquote done, which, nothing's ever really done, but as it is done, it would appear down here. Okay, so we're going to start here in the character section. So we're going to society and culture, and we're going to twirl down the characters. And you see we have some in no series and series. And so we have a couple of things here. We also have all of these different ways that they connect. So we're actually come over to general. You have 3 tabs: general, characters and cultures, locations, and items. And so what we're going to do is you can start connecting it to all of the other parts of your story. So when you create a new character, remember we created character 5 and they showed up right here. So obviously we know this is a part of series 1. So what we're going to do first is we're going to open this up and it becomes its own page. We're going to come down here and we're going to click this template button called new character. And what that's going to do is going to pull in the template. So now we have a lot of things going on here. One of the things with Storybook Master Novelist when I created it was that navigation was very important to me. So what it does is give you this universal menu bar up here, which is a synced block. So if I want to go back to the other page, I just click world building and here I am back here. If you'll notice now we have a little icon by character. So we know that we applied the template to the character. So let's go back into here quickly and kind of look at what happened. So we'll come back to this, but this is basically just your notes section where you can put all your basics in: name, nickname, gender, age, race, height, all those things, family status, education, work, home, psychology, their fears, secrets, intelligence, eating habits, all those kinds of things. So basically just a huge notes section for putting all this stuff in. Down at the bottom, there's a history where you could essentially write their whole history of this character if you wanted to. So that's kind of what happens when you go into a character card. That's kind of the deeper level stuff. Like if you really want to get into the nitty gritty, you'll do this more for your main characters and your antagonists and stuff. You may not do this as much for some of your side characters and things, but maybe some of them, maybe not all of them. Obviously, if you just have some random bartender, you're not going to, put all your effort into that character necessarily. But if we go back to that world building section, this is kind of where it gets kind of fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to just drag we know it's in series 1, so we're going to drag it down to series 1. We're going to say, don't remove the sorting. And so now it's attached to series 1. We see this here, series 1. The other way you can do that, if you want, is to simply just under general, click series, and now it pops down here. So on the general tab, you have these kind of database blocks that you can work on. So you can just kind of ideas and notes, kind of brainstorm anything you have. You think about this character. Again, it's all a workflow, so you can kind of design it as you go, and it captures all of your ideas. Then you have a description, so you can just write kind of a brief description of who this character is, and then a little bit of their history. Again, if you go into the character profile, it's a little bit doubled up, but for ease of workflow, I added it here as well for you to use. That's it on the general tab. If we go over to characters and cultures, this is where you can start working on, attaching them to different your family member, like if they have a mom or a dad and you have all those other characters. So say character 5's mom is character 2. So we'll click into family, we'll click character 2. And now you'll see here, it attached it to both. So a family member for 5 is down here, or for a family member for character 2 is now character 5, and vice versa. Then if you come over here, say character 5, let's say this is a culture 2, right? So you can add a culture, or you can add a race 1. You can add multiples if it's kind of like you could do this with, maybe this character is an elf, but then there's different subsets of elves, different subcultures of elves. You could do it that way and so on. And then you can go in here to groups and say they're a part of group 1. Say this character is a elf who is part of the night elves or something. So it's kind of the race is elf, culture is night elf, and then the group they're in is like maybe he's a knight, maybe he's you can add it to different things. And then this notes and ideas section is the same one from general. So if you type anything that you brought over from the general area, so like this is an idea. If I go back to the general tab, that's going to be here. So this ideas and notes tab is a synced tab for you to keep all of your ideas on each tab. Then the other thing you can do is go over to locations and items, and this is where you can start adding it to your world. So you can add, say this is going to be in world 1, along with, the mom down here, world 1. Region, we're going to say they live in region 2. So this would be like, and then we'll go through here. So we got city in 1, then you can go building fortresses, say they're part of that fortress or building, and let's say they have a sword 1 or something. And so this would be basically like, say it's in the world of let's use the Lord of the Rings as an example, the world of Middle Earth, it's in the region of Gondor, it's in the city of Minas Tirith, so on and so forth. That's how you kind of build that out. So basically what this is doing and what you're doing here is you're connecting everything together. So if I go over to say worlds, I pull this open, it's listing every character now that's attached to this world. It's listing every culture, every group, all those kinds of things. And see, if I go to region, it's doing the same thing. So general, it's part of series 1. Go to characters. Character 5 is attached to this region. So it really just starts organizing, like the world building thing of this, I think really works really well, especially for characters and keeping track of all those details. And especially if you are writing a big fantasy epic and there's a lot to it, it can really help make sure all of your ideas are connected and everything. Even your items and locations. So you know that like this particular sword comes from that place and all that kind of stuff. And it also keeps your characters connected. And then if I come down here to cultures and races, so if I go over to characters and cultures, now I've got character 5 is a part of those things. And then after you've kind of connected and put them in the place where everything's supposed to be, then if you go back into character 5 or any character, again, now if you look on this list, it's listing out everything that you just did. So series, you can add what projects it's a part of, what chapters it's in, which that mostly happens when you get to the writing section. You can also see what it is the main character of. So if you have a character that's a main character of this project, but say your project 2 has a different main character, it'll tell you whether you have if this character is the main character or antagonist of a particular project. When you get into the writing section, it'll also add if this character is a point of view chapter, so you can really keep things straight there. You got your worlds, regions, cities, all that information you just did is right there. So then when you come back down here and you start filling in all this text of all these different things, you have kind of this baseline notes up here for you to reference back to when you need to. And then you can fill out the rest of this information to create your character. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Writing Quest. I really hope that this was helpful to you. If you do not have a copy of Storybook Master Novelist, I highly recommend you get one, especially if you have a large fantasy series you're trying to keep track of. Links down in the description below. If you use the code WQ15, you will get 15% off the purchase of that. Make sure to leave it a 5-star review if you love it. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. It really helps out. Make sure to like and share and subscribe this video. Comment down below. I'd love to talk to you about it. If you have any questions or if you have any thoughts about even how ways to improve it, please let me know. Love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on Writing Quest. Huzzah!